I'm Tom. The bass line for today is Can't Stop by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. For that slap part everyone loves, I'll give you a 9-step strategy that I've found really helps my private students learn it fast. I'll also go through the 3 other parts and point out some common challenges that I see and how you can overcome them. Please give the video a like if you find it helpful and consider subscribing for more content like this, and let's get on to that amazing slap bass line. Step 1. Now the first thing you'll need is a strategy for learning the bass line. There are 4 bars in the bass line, but I found it best to master the first bar and then you'll be able to transfer that technique to the other bars, as the technique in the other parts is very similar. I would further break bar 1 down into 3 sections when you're learning it. Section 1, which has some slapped and pop notes. Section 2, which is a combination of the played notes and a ghost note, and that ghost note is shown here by an X. And the third section, which is a different combination of ghost notes and a played note. Step 2. Now for step 2, focus on the slap and pop part. I'm assuming you have your basic slap technique down, and if you don't, I'd go off and do a bit of research about that because it is a big topic in itself. So to play it, we have slap, pop, pop, slap, slap, pop, pop, slap, slap, pop, pop, slap. One thing I see beginners get wrong is letting these pop notes last too long. We want them short and snappy like this, not long and drawn out like this. So to get that right, you really need to work on your muting with your left hand. There should also be an even balance between the volume of the slap notes and the pop note, so the pop note doesn't dominate the slap note. Also with this note here, this D, which is the 7th fret on the G string, you want to play that with your index finger, so you're barring across that string and covering up the 7th fret on both the A string as well as the G string. So you really need to make sure your positioning is right up against the fret, because if you hold it too far back, it'll be difficult to hold that note down. Step 3, here we work on the second section, which is a combination of slaps, pops, and a ghost note. For the ghost note, you need to release the pressure on your left hand, so you're touching the strings, but not pressing down so much that you can hear the note when you play it. So this section sounds like this. Slap, pop, ghost, pop. Slap, pop, ghost, pop. Slap, pop, ghost, pop. So that means that the pressure on the left hand will be going on, off, on, off, on, to get that pressure right for that ghost note. Step 4, here we work on section 3, which is ghost, ghost, slap. And the pressure on the left hand here will be off, off, on, off, off, on. Step 5, we bring all the sections together and it sounds like this. And now you've passed your first major hurdle. Step 6. Now we start on bar number 2. Now that you've got the technique down from bar number 1, bar 2 should be much easier, although there is this big jump at the start of the bar from the 5th fret to the 7th fret, which can be quite awkward. Like in bar 1, we're using our index finger to play the 5th fret as well as that 7th fret, so that finger needs to move quite fast along the frets. So you really need to practice this placement slowly from the 5th fret to the 7th fret to get that part really smooth. So here's what bar number 2 sounds like. Great, so now that you can play through bars 1 and 2, now practice through bars 3 and 4, which are very similar. And bars 3 and 4 are easier in a way because you don't need to play 2 notes in a row with your index finger. So here's what bars 3 and 4 sound like. Now step 8, we practice from the start to the end slowly. Occasionally when you're playing through it, you might find that you're playing a fretted note, so you're kind of playing a played note, rather than a ghost note. But as long as you're playing in time, it will still sound great, so don't obsess over it. And step 9, speed through the playthrough all the way from the start to the end. And that's it. Important announcement. Just a tip, if you're a bit less experienced or this is the first time you're playing this track on bass, you can just do the parts I'm going to go through today and that will sound great. But if you're a bit more advanced, you could do some fills or variations around the chord changes. With the intro, the main challenge is playing all these 16th notes nice and evenly over quite a long period of time. Now you can practice that with a metronome, and you can see me doing that here, so that the tempo of this track is 90 beats per minute, but I'm practicing around 60 beats per minute. But the exercise I would recommend to really make sure that you're doing it properly is to grab a metronome, and I have a metronome here, which is the Soundbrenner metronome app, which is free, and so what I'm doing here is I'm changing it from 4/4 time to 16 beats per bar. And then I am setting it up so for the first 8 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the metronome will make a noise, but then for the next 8 clicks I'm turning the volume down so the metronome won't make a sound. So I'm going to play along with it. The first 8 beats will kind of help me find the tempo, and then for the next 8 beats, I'm just playing by myself. And if I am playing in time, by the time it starts clicking again, I will be in time with the click. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... Great, so when I came back and I was playing with it, I was in time. Also, make sure you don't look at the metronome when you're playing along, because it is going to give you a bit of a guide. So yeah, try to look away. Now, when you play along with a metronome, it's actually more useful to play along with it slow, because when you play along with it fast, if you're making some issues with your timing, the speed will kind of mask that your issues are there. So it's actually more important to play with it slowly, and you'll really notice if you're not playing in time there. And it'll be far more of a challenge. But anyway, I'm going to speed up to 90 beats per minute and do the same exercise. 3, 4, 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Yeah, and that's such a great exercise to really help you with your timing. Now with the chorus, from a theory point of view, it's quite cool how Flea is moving around those different chord shapes. The biggest challenge on this part is it's really important that you get the notes nice and smooth. So you need to kind of really get your fingers down on the fretboard. So the time you're finishing this run, you can have all your fingers down, which will really get that nice smooth legato sound to it. And I'm using with my thumb here to make sure that there's no other string noises happening. So this is just going to sound smooth as butter. In the bridge we have some pretty basic movements around the chords, but the challenge here is to not ignore the fact that we have these rests here like this shape. So after we play those first 4 notes, we really need to make sure that we cut the sound off straight away. So it's going to sound like stop, stop, stop. So nice clear pauses between each section that you're playing. So I'm really working on getting my muting clear with both hands, so I'm stopping the notes dead after I'm playing them. There's a slightly tricky finger position in this last fret, but the way I'm playing is I'm using my 4th finger to play the 12, the 10, and then I go back to playing in 8th position now, so I'm playing the 8th fret with my index finger. If you want printable PDFs or guitar profiles from today's lesson, they're available on my Patreon page. And a big thanks to all my patrons, especially my VIP patron. And here's some other videos that you might enjoy.